All right, welcome back, everybody. Off the cuff episode. I think this is 10. This might be our double-digit episode. Um, to my right, I have my brother from Florida, Rodney. How's it going?
Hey, I'm going good, man. How's everybody going?
Man, it's been a rough. I mean, man, I think the last time we did this is like a month or two, at least.
Yeah, we've been busy, with life kind of caught up with us a little bit, but it's all good. I've been trying to take care of some retirement stuff. I'm retiring from the military, as you probably guys already know. So I've been kind of busy with that, and but it's good to hang out and just shoot the breeze and talk about stuff that we like, that we enjoy. So it's all good, man. Happy to be back and just talking some bullshit with my brother. So
What are you drinking on tonight?
I went bargain basement on us, man. I did the Miller Lite, so nothing sexy, nothing too spectacular. So
All right. I kind of went off the other end of the spectrum. This is called No Ghost. I think I don't know, maybe a play off like Ghostbusters, but it is a American sour ale with tangerine puree, orange juice, and food coloring, and it's delicious.
wow, yeah, that sounds like foo-foo stuff, bro.
It looks pretty wicked. It looks like Ecto Cooler, that high C Ecto Cooler. It's I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, you're definitely a dad, referencing Ecto Cooler High Seas.
So tonight's topic is top 5 sports movies. What's your idea of a good sports movie? I have my idea. I want to hear yours first.
Well, first of all, man, this list was one of the hardest lists I think I've ever compiled in my life. I mean, there's so many great sports movies, and if you asked me to make this list 2 weeks ago, it probably would have been a different list, honestly. Or a year in the future would have been. It's probably going to be a different list. Yeah. So these movies, yeah, I could have put 20 sports movies on this list just because I think the sports genre has so much of the human condition and the human element. We all want to feel part of a team first. First of all, it's not about winning, right? It's being part of something, part of a team. When I was in high school and I played varsity soccer, I never really got on the field because I wasn't good enough. But one thing I remember is just a camaraderie of my team and being part of something. So I think a lot of sports movies to me kind of capture that. Trying, being something bigger than yourself. And I think a lot of people kind of aspire to kind of feel that way.
Yeah.
And obviously it's about the underdog. It's about hopes. Yeah. It's about dreams. It's about what ifs. It's about failures. It's about winning. It's about losing. So all those themes, create great drama. And if you have great drama, then you have a great movie. You have a great life. You have a great life lesson. And it's a great journey to go on. So I think sports movies kind of capture that.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that because as I was looking at, top 150 sports movies, it's almost like there's subgenres of sports movies where it's like, is it a comedy sports movie? Is it a inspirational sports movie? Or an underdog story? Is it a true story? Is it a documentary? Like we could have done top 5 sports documentaries and that would have been difficult.
Yeah, that would have been. There's a bunch of great documentaries out there that are fascinating watches, man. So I hear you, man.
And I think you touched on that. It has such a human element to it that I love it. Like, and I, after reading this, like looking at all the movies, I realized how much I love sports movies. Like no matter how cheesy they are,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
like they could be absolutely cheesy, but it's something I'm drawn to. And even talking with Sarah about some of these movies, she's like, "Oh yeah, that's a good one too." So yeah, it's I wrote like 30 movies down because
Yeah. Easily, I could have easily went 20 to 25 movies, but you know, it like it's crazy how many great sports movies are there, and some of them I haven't had to rewatch, and they took on a whole new meaning, and sometimes they depreciated, or sometimes they made them appreciate it a lot more. So it depends what stage in life you are. It depends what mood you're in. So it kind of depends how you see the sports movies and stuff like that. And a lot of it's nostalgia, because when you were
yeah,
kids, you latch onto a sports movie that maybe you saw with your dad, so it has a more of a special meaning. Might not have been the greatest sports movie, but just because you watched it with your brothers or your dad, kind of you kind of hold it more dear to your heart. So where do you kind of put those in? They're not really constructed or directed with high quality, or may not have the most original story, but they're special to you because you watched them with your dad and your family. So
yeah. And I think that's what affected my list a lot too, was how it made me feel. So my top five,
exactly.
I'm not
Well, let's
saying
go
this is a
five.
top.
I'll say my five. You say your five. We'll discuss, and then we'll go down that way. So,
Okay,
what's your
yeah.
top five? What's your number five movie, Raj?
So my number five movie, and I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for this, but is Rudy.
But the reason
It's
why I'm laughing is because that's my number five.
oh, see, and you know, I remember watching it with me, you, Dad. I think Anna was there too. I think we rented it at like Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Um, and I know I'm not supposed to like Notre Dame because I'm a Michigan fan, but I think I secretly root for Notre Dame because of Rudy. It's just such a good, and I think a lot of it's been debunked. Like I know Joe Montana has been like on record, like talking shit about Rudy because he was on like the team after or something like that. But it's the music, the score, the true underdog story. Um, who's the guy who plays Rudy?
Sean Austin.
Sean Austin. Like it. I mean, it's a funny movie. Like you're all time center. I don't want to be all time center. Like
One of my favorite lines. Yeah.
it's I don't know. Every time I see Rudy, man, I have to watch it. It's always on TV. It's like 5 foot nothing, 100 and nothing. Like it got a
Charles
speck
S.
of
Dutton,
nothing.
man.
Oh
If
man,
you want an
just
inspirational speech by a black man, hire
yeah.
that dude.
Oh man, it gets me every time, man. It's such a well done movie, man. Um, and I still remember watching it for the first time. It had that impact on me. It really is a true underdog story that I love.
Yeah, it is a beautiful story, and it's about perseverance, and it's about never giving up on your dreams. Just the struggle he gets into college fascinates
Yeah,
me as much as he's trying to get on the football team, where he
yeah,
goes to community college and he struggles with his grades and he asks for help, and everybody's saying, your grades are not good enough to go to Notre Dame, over and over and over. He applies to the school, he gets denied, and you're just rooting for this guy. And you're like, why? I just want you to get into Notre Dame first. And a lot the first half of the story is just him trying to get to Notre Dame. And I think
yeah,
that journey is fascinating, as fascinating as a football journey. Every time he gets the letter and he opens it up. I've watched this movie so many times, and it still breaks my heart whenever he gets the letter and he doesn't make it, even though I
yeah,
know he doesn't get in Notre Dame. But it's just so well acted. I mean, it's just so well photographed. The music is phenomenal. The images with the football players, it's such a violent sport, but the way the director captures it, he makes it so beautiful. the field, the atmosphere,
Yeah.
these large bodies colliding to this music. He makes it kind of sort of like a ballet, and it's such a beautiful thing to watch. I bet you don't even have to like football if you see that montage of them practicing, where it's just pure music and them
Yeah.
just doing drills.
It's like the
It's just so
classical music.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
it's
so
just
inspiring. And David Onspa, the director, um, he has a knack for kind of underdog movies, and he did another movie that's also in my top 5 that I'll get to later. But yeah, I mean, when I first saw this movie, I was like, oh, this is just going to be another cliche underdog story. And I was like, Rudy, like even the name kind of like, I kind of laughed to myself a little bit when I first saw the previews. Like, yeah, this is going to be kind of weird. I mean, kind of this cliche. But when I saw the movie, it just floored me, man. Just because he doesn't win the big game. He's on the field for like what, a couple of plays, and that's what it's about.
yeah,
Just getting to that,
one
just
special
one
teams
special,
play, and then
yeah,
like the play after.
right. So yeah, I mean, good pick, great pick, and this could have been any one in any order of my top 5. It's funny that how we both have it at 5 though. Kind of
Yeah.
crazy. So all right, so my 4 is a movie called A League of Their Own, and when I first saw this movie, man, I was younger, and it seemed like it came on HBO like every day when I was younger, almost. So I've seen it a lot of times, and I think just captures so well about how sibling rivalry in the sports world can be. I mean, the heart of this story is about 2 sisters that always are competing with each other, and I just think that dynamic and their relationship just encapsulates how competition kind of takes a backseat to love, and how you want to care for your siblings. It's not really about winning or losing. It's about understanding and giving someone else a spotlight that they've never
Yeah.
had.
Yeah.
So I think just that last game they play, and she purposely drops the ball so her little sister can have the glory, when all her life her little sister was the underdog and was overshadowed by her sister that was getting all the glory. And for her to finally say, okay, I'm going to let you have the winning spotlight. I think that's just a touching story, and I love the setting. I think it doesn't get talked about enough, about how there really were women that joined Major League Baseball in World War II just to help America kind of get back to normal and distraction from the war. And they did a hell of a job of just stepping up to the plate and helping us get through World War II in their own little way. And it's beautifully directed by Penny Marshall. She did another movie that I really like called Big, a female director. And then the iconic Tom Hanks line, there's no crying in baseball. People still recite that now. And he just does Jimmy Dugan, man, he's just a classic character in sports movies. So, and then John Lovitz, man, him, dude, he
Well,
he
look who
cracks
just
me
caught
up.
up.
Yeah. So
It's like-
anyways, I really love this movie. I mean, I've seen it a million times. So that's my number 4.
okay, so I started to wonder if we had it on VHS, because I've seen it a million times too. And A League of Their Own is number 3 on my top 5.
Wow, we might have to lay the same list almost.
It's a phenomenal movie. And when I was making this list, I was trying to put them in their little subgenres. This is one of the movies that literally fits in every of the genre. Like, it's a true story. It's an underdog story from the little sisters kind of perspective. It's inspirational and it's funny.
Yes, it is funny.
Like, it's hilarious, man. Like, and I've watched this movie like 3 or 4 months ago when I was at work. Like, I was struggling. I was on night shift. I was like struggling to find something, and it popped up on HBO Max. I was like, done. I serve.
Yeah.
Like it's I don't the acting in it is great. Gina Davis, like Tom Hanks, man, it's got to be one of his best roles. Like
Yeah.
girls, I don't got girls. Like he's just
Yeah.
so good, man. And the
He was so good in
turnaround
that role, man.
for it to be a true story, like it. That's another sports movie that really made an impact on.
And yeah, and it has a great message about, humility, about, your loved ones. And it's just it's a top-notch movie, man.
Yeah, and the Game 7 World Series, like final
Yeah.
out. I mean, you just can't. If you write this stuff, like people are gonna throw it back at you and say, like, no, we can't do this. Like, this is too, this is too perfect. Like, such a good movie, man. I it had to be in my top five, but so it was my three. My four is actually uh, another football movie. And it's a newer film, kind of, is Friday Night Lights.
Great movie. I rewatched that like a couple weeks ago with Mia. Great movie, man. That could have been in my top 5 easy.
Yeah, the score, man, like the documentary type style, like just the hopes of like, making it, the sad story of Booby Miles, like hurting his leg, and it's tragic. It's got the underdog, quarterback who's struggling. His mom wants him to succeed. I mean, it's just like man, there's so much emotion in that movie. Like it makes me tear up just hearing the music from it. Like a beautiful story, great acting. Billy Bob Thornton is awesome in it. The head coach is, yeah, Billy Bob Thornton. I mean, it's just one of my favorite films.
Yeah, it's just such an it frames what the high school athlete really goes through, how much pressure they have in
Yeah,
performing, especially with these small little towns that unfairly puts them on this huge pedestal that no one could live up to, man.
I
And the way they
know.
handle this with these young 17, 16-year-old, 18-year-old people, it's phenomenal how the Peter Berg, I think, directed it, how he kind of captures that essence. And when Booby Miles cries to his uncle saying that I wanted to buy you a house, like if you don't get teared up in that scene, like
Yeah,
you need to check your pulse. Like,
yeah,
and it's his relationship with his uncle is so respectful too, that he
yeah,
could have went to a different route where it kind of disintegrated. But it's just, how he brings back that Christmas tree at the end to his uncle, just little touches like that. But
yeah,
phenomenal, like character development, phenomenal character arcs.
yeah.
The dad, the abusive dad, how he kind
Oh
of
yeah,
comes around,
yeah,
and how the son, he throws his ring out the door and his son finds it and gives it to him. Like so many classic touches that are just, it's a phenomenal movie, man. I
yeah.
agree with you, bro.
The amount of pressure on those kids, man.
Yeah,
Like you
it's
said,
unfair.
was it Tim McGraw's kid
Yeah,
or
Tim McGraw's character. Yeah,
like? And I mean that's real, man. Like
yeah,
that, it's heartbreaking and eye opening and amazing all at the same time. There's just so much emotion in that movie that it's a brilliant film for me.
yeah. I agree. All right, so my number 3. I mean, this is a no-brainer, and then it's maybe kind of boring and stuff, but to me it is Rocky. So I rewatched Rocky a couple months ago, and it is one of my favorite movies of all time, regardless of genre or anything else. I just think it's lightning in a bottle. I love the score. I love the direction. I love the acting. It is the true original underdog story. I love the love story that he has with Adrian, how it forms and how it revolves. Now 2, 3, and 4, 5, whatever. I'm not counting that that stuff. But I'm talking about the original Rocky one. Just so beautiful, so heartfelt. The relationship he has with Mickey when he comes back to Rocky, when Rocky has a shot with Apollo, and Mickey, his trainer, comes back in his apartment, and I think it's one of the best scenes of all time, where he's trying to explain to Rocky that, I want to be your manager, and Rocky was like, "Well, where were you when I needed you? At least you had a shot." Like, and then when he goes, he hides back in his closet or his bathroom, and then Mickey runs out into the street, and the camera pans out, and Rocky just chases after him, and the music just swells. It's just a fantastic scene that I wish I wrote. Like, that probably is one of the most perfect cinematic scenes I think I've ever seen. Just how well it's acted and how well it's just filmed, and I just can't get over how beautiful that scene is. So it's got to be Rocky. Nothing sexy, nothing spectacular, but Rocky is probably one of my best movies of all time.
So it's been a long time since I've seen Rocky, but I do know that it is considered like top 5 sports movie on almost every list that I looked at.
Yeah, I try to get. I had to put it on my list. I just couldn't leave it out for some reason, bro. So
No, I get. I mean, it won an Oscar for best movie, right? Like,
yeah,
but I don't remember a whole lot of Rocky. But after hearing you talk about it, I do want to watch it again now. um, yeah, I mean, shit, they got a statue up in freaking Philly for a movie.
yeah. I mean, it's directed by
Fictional
John.
character.
Yeah, it's directed by John Avildsen, where he did Karate Kid too. So he's a master of the underdog. Like, he did. So Karate Kid and Rocky. You could argue Karate Kid's a sports movie almost.
Oh yeah, I put it
Um,
on the list.
yeah. So you know him directing Rocky and Karate Kid. So that, I mean, that he does have a feel for the underdog movie. So I could have put Karate Kid on the list too, honestly. So
Oh yeah. Um, all right, so that was your 3, right?
that was my 3. Yeah.
All right, so we're on 2. I'll go with 2. And so this movie showed up on every list that I looked at in the top 10 at least, and I've never watched it until yesterday. I actually sat down and finally watched it. And it is whew, one of the most powerful movies that I've seen recently is Hoop Dreams.
I've watched Hoop Dreams and I loved it.
It Man, it's just all those things you kind of described about Friday Night Lights is what takes place in this basically 3-hour documentary about.
And it's a documentary. It's real life footage. It's
Yeah,
not like Hollywood, shit. It's actually a hidden camera almost documenting this basketball journey with
yeah,
2 kids, right? Yeah.
yeah. 2 kids in inner
Mm-hmm.
city Chicago, and uh, I feel like every person needs to watch this movie, whether they like
Yeah.
sports or basketball. It's it's heartbreaking, man. Like these kids that have this dream of making the NBA, and they're really talented. They're really good basketball players, but they're in the ghetto. Their education is, you know, the worst the country has to offer. They live in poverty. Their parents struggle. I mean, through one journey, this kid's, he he gets accepted to go to this private school, and the people there are like, you have to pay tuition to this private school. He can't afford it, but somebody offers to pay for his scholarship through like uh just like different, what's the word I'm looking for, like people have offered to pay for his scholarship. They really think this dude's going to be really good in basketball. Well, his first year, his freshman year, he doesn't do that good, and the scholarship like stops. So he can't play there anymore because he can't afford the scholarship. So this is just the very beginning of this person's basketball like journey, where it's like he's very hopeful. He's like, holy shit, I'm going to this nice school. I'm gonna, and then he has a few shitty games, and they're like, sorry, something fell through. We can't provide for you anymore. And it's just like, at that young age, like, are we really exploiting 14, 15-year-old kids where we have such a high level of expectation and they don't make that? And just like, his dad like ends up going to jail like in this journey. He goes, he gets arrested for like beating his mom. He gets on drugs. He goes to prison. He gets out and he tries to help his son by the end. And it's freaking heartbreaking watching this thing, man. And it's just, we got to be able to do better, man. And this was filmed in like, like 88 to like 91. And it's just an emotional journey that I think every American should watch, because it kind of opens your eyes and makes you realize how good a lot of us have it compared to this kid who's carrying the weight of his family and the expectations of his mom, his dad, his uncle that was a great basketball player but wouldn't listen to coaches. He wasn't teachable, he wasn't coachable, and just like so many bad influences. I mean, it's hard to dig yourself out of that hole. It seems inconceivable to be in a hole like that as a 14-year-old kid. And that shit is real. Like 3 hours of raw emotional real life is draining to the soul, but it's like a must watch by everybody.
It is a must watch, man. I remember Roger Ebert recommending this movie, and I think he made it as his number one movie that year. And it is such a gut wrenching piece of piece of filmmaking, and it's reality TV before reality TV was a thing. So it was done with respect. It was done with humility.
Yeah.
It humanizes people. Now reality TV dumbs down people now. So I think it's ahead of its time, because it is reality TV. Now reality TV is garbage. Now this is done, with such care and such such nuance about the class system, about poverty, about education, about it's so much more than a sports documentary. It touches on so many social economic issues, and it was ahead of its time. And it is a film that everybody really should see, man. It's astonishing, dude. I agree with that. It's a great pick, Raj.
Yeah.
Wow. So that was your number two?
Yeah.
Okay. So my number two, I'm not sure if you've seen this, and this is a movie that came out probably in 2009, 2008 or something like that. It's a movie called The Wrestler, and it stars Mickey Rourke, about this down and out wrestler. Wrestling is a sport I never really got into. But this movie just floored me, how Darren Aronofsky directed this movie. And he directed Rec Room for a Dream. He directed Black Swan, and he directed this. But he directed this before Black Swan. But this stars Mickey Rourke as a down and out wrestler. He was a wrestling legend back in the day. Now, fast forward 20 years later, he's trying to still be a wrestler. He's all broken down. He takes steroids. He's lost all his money. He's taking drugs. So he's kind of down and out. And the acting job and just the story of him going down a spiral is just such a fascinating thing. And it deals with the subject with so much respect. And when you think about wrestling, you think about it's just some garbage Looney Tunes kind of medium, but it shows the subculture, what wrestlers really go through.
Yeah.
And the behind the scenes of what these wrestlers go through, man, is pretty astonishing, man. So it's this story of him trying to fit into society after wrestling. So he's well respected in the wrestling world, and everybody's a fan of him, and he still has all these fans. And his worst enemy is himself. So it's just a beautiful story of him just trying to live a normal life, and eventually his inner demons just get the best of him, and he succumbs to, what ultimately where he's loved and respected is in that genre with these fans and these friends, and his life outside of wrestling is just a total mess.
Yeah.
And it's just a fascinating story, and it's something that I just really, really love. And there's scenes in here that I just can't get out of my mind. This it's more of a personal story to me, and I love characters that are trying to fight their inner demons, and they really can't overcome them and their journey. I kind of have a soft spot for them. So I'm not sure if you saw it or anything, but
so I've seen parts of it, and what I have seen of it is very it definitely peels the layers off of what, and it shows that reality of, like, unless you're a superstar in wrestling like The Rock, like, you're one of these guys and you're struggling and you're sacrificing your body
yes.
and your family and just to make it to the next gig.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely is a great movie. And I thought about this, and as little as I've seen of it, it has made an impact on wrestling for me, like kind of an eye open. And you're that's a very good choice of words you said, where it does it respectfully, like with grace, showing what these,
These wrestlers go through. Yeah,
yeah,
it really does, man.
it was kind of like a shocker. Like, I was
Yeah,
like,
it's an eye opener. Yeah.
yeah, I remember all the raves about it, like the wrestler's good movie, and like I think it was on like maybe TNT one day, and I was like, this is the movie people have been talking about, and I watched it for a little bit. I was like, damn, this is eye opening. Like, I kind of wish now that I gave it, actually watched the whole thing, but I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah, I just rewatched this maybe a week ago just because I love it so much, and it still holds up to me. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a scene where he's working up behind a deli counter and he's trying to, live a normal life, and someone recognizes him because he was like The Rock back 20 years ago, and someone's, ordering meat, and there's like, hey, aren't you Randy the Ram? And he doesn't want to be there, where he says, no, I'm not him, because he's so embarrassed, where he's at, how far he's fallen,
yeah,
and he's slicing meat with this meat grinder, and the tension just builds and builds and builds, and this customer keeps nagging him, saying, oh no, you're him, and you could see that he's just, and what happened is just one of the most intense scenes I've seen in a movie. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's just filmmaking where, it's insane, dude. So
I have to put it on the list, man. I gotta watch it.
yeah, you need to watch this movie, Raj. I think you'll enjoy it. So, all right.
All right, so before we go to number one, I think I have to give a shout out to a shitload of sports movies.
Yeah, let's do honorable mentions, man, before we get to number one.
Yeah, honorable mentions, and a lot of these are in the comedy section of what I have.
Yeah.
Because there's so many iconic sports movies. Like you said, it's so hard. Do you give best of the best honorable mentions?
The cheese factor, man. Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
See, I
Dude, best
haven't
of the
seen
best is
it.
just
I remember we loved it growing up. I haven't seen it like since then, probably 25 years ago, dude.
dude. When James Earl Jones says the team is not a team if you don't give a damn about each other, like I mean, just iconic lines. And then Julia Roberts' brother that starred in here. What the hell's his name? He's one of the
Eric,
worst. Eric Roberts.
yeah.
He's one of the worst actors like ever, dude. He overreacts to this. He overacts in this movie, which is almost art. It's almost brilliant how much he overacts in this movie, dude. But
I
yeah, I
see.
mean, come on.
I want to watch it again, man.
Yeah,
Because I
you
remember
gotta watch. There's some
we
laughs,
laughed
dude.
at it a lot.
Yeah.
I know who's the guy who's in Reservoir Dogs, who's in there.
Sean Penn.
Sean,
No,
yeah,
he's
Fast
no Chris Penn. He's brother.
Chris Penn, yeah,
Chris Penn. Yeah.
Fast Guy Eddie, like
Yeah, he's hilarious in that too, dude.
yeah.
Like there's no way he could be like a martial artist. He's like 30 pounds overweight, smoking. Like there's no way he's believable, dude. Like it's funny though.
Yeah, and then like the end, like I don't know, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
I have so Happy Gilmore. I don't know if
Yeah.
you're a fan of Happy Gilmore, but
I'm a
Happy
fan of Happy
Gilmore,
Gilmore.
man, is hilarious, man. Like I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast.
Yeah.
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast. Like there's just Shooter McGavin, man. He like at the end, he like makes a putt. He's just like, it's just hilarious, man.
Yeah.
What about Shaolin Soccer? Have you ever seen
Dude, I
Shaolin
rewatched
Soccer?
Shaolin Soccer. I almost put this as number 5. That's how much I love Shaolin Soccer, dude. Me and my
Thank
kid
you,
watched.
man.
Dude, it's like Looney Tunes, anime, stupid. It's so hilarious, but it has a heart to it. It is so funny, dude. I love that movie, man. It's such a great movie.
It is, man, and it's like have you seen Kung Fu Hustle?
I've seen Kung Fu Hustle, yeah.
Yeah,
Same guy.
Same guy, yeah. Yeah, Shaolin Soccer, man. And the thing is, it's damn near impossible to get somebody to watch something like Shaolin Soccer.
Yeah, nowadays. Well, the reason I watched it back then where it was in to watch like Korean, like well, not Korean, but like Kung Fu movies kind of 15 years ago. It was kind of hip to do that. Now, not really, but I think it has a cult following, to believe it or not.
I mean, it does. It has a cult following, but it's a good movie. Like for me to try to convince Sarah to watch Shaolin Soccer,
it might not be in her wheelhouse though. I could see that. Like
I couldn't even try to explain it without me thinking it's going to be a stupid movie. And
well, I mean, you could argue it is a stupid movie,
but it's brilliant. It's brilliant,
yeah,
man.
Yeah, but it is brilliant. It's I like it, dude.
I mean, it's fun. It's hilarious. It
has a great message.
Yeah, great message. I mean, it's a brilliant movie. I absolutely like people like the Longest Yard. It's like if people they redid The Longest Yard, so people are like, oh yeah, Longest Yard is a great movie. Like Shaolin Soccer is like,
oh yeah,
The Longest Yard times 10.
Yes, I agree with that. I mean, yeah, movies like, even movies I grew up with when I was a little kid, like Cool Runnings or like The Mighty Ducks or Major League or, I don't know if you consider The Sandlot a sports movie, but stuff like that. Like Cool Runnings, man, the end gets me. Like I have tears in my eyes when they wipe out at the end and they all carry the bobsled and they all go across the finish line and everybody does a slow clap.
Yeah.
For some reason, that just gets me,
Absolutely, man. I love Cool Runnings.
Yeah. Kingpin. I love Kingpin. I was gonna put.
Man, I forgot about King. How did I forget about Kingpin?
That's a classic sports movie, man. But stuff I left off the list was great movies directed by Ron Sheldon. He directed White Men Can't Jump, Bull Durham, and Tin Cup. All great sports movies, man. He does sports movies really well. I think Spike Lee did amazing sports movies with He Got Game, fantastic movie that I just watched maybe a couple months ago about basketball, about the trials and tribulations of a high school basketball player trying to get into to college, and then Any Given Sunday, I think is a fantastic movie. I
Yeah.
rewatched that too, and I think that's it. It still holds up today. How football athletes are treated almost like commodities and stuff, and
Yeah.
playing pieces on. They're not really treated so much as humans. And I think Any Given Sunday is kind of ahead of its time. How the media kind of eggs them on and kind of use them
Yeah.
to fit in their narrative about what the media thinks. And the media doesn't know shit about these athletes, but then again they use them to get views and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So I mean Any Given Sunday is a great movie. What else? And I saw an
Excuse me.
old movie called The Hustler with Paul Newman. It's such a fantastic movie. I don't know if you want to consider it a sports movie.
Oh yeah,
But
I have The Color of Money on here.
Yeah, Color Money, and that's part two. I haven't seen Color Money. That's part two. So I wanted to see The Hustler.
Yeah.
And that's a fantastic movie. Ford versus Ferrari. I mean, that's a fantastic movie.
That's a good one.
What else?
But so as I was writing these movies down, because I was starting to write down, like Little Giants, Mighty Ducks, like Cool Runnings. Like, do people make movies like that anymore? Or
I don't know.
are we just too old to realize that there are movies?
Yeah, maybe we're I don't know if we're desensitized or jaded with like family movies anymore. I don't know. That's a good question.
Because I love Little Giants, Mighty Ducks.
Well,
I know
Mighty Duck has a streaming show on Disney Plus. It's pretty successful. So. And I rewatched Moneyball, and Moneyball's a great movie too. I like.
Oh yeah, Moneyball is
fantastic movie.
So it's a slow burn, but it's definitely very, very interesting. Like, yeah, really good movie. I liked it a lot.
And one movie I think about a lot because I watched it with Dad a lot because it came on HBO a lot. There's a movie called The Natural, and has one of the greatest endings in a sports movie. I'm not sure if you heard of it. It's called The Natural.
Yeah, Robert Redford.
Yeah, fantastic movie.
I don't think I've seen it, but
yeah, Field of Dreams, fantastic movie. A little schmaltzy, maybe a little corny by today's standards, but I liked Field of Dreams a lot. What else?
Caddyshack is always mentioned.
Yeah.
I don't know. Caddyshack has some funny stuff in it, but at the same time, a lot of it is just, I don't think it holds up very well. Like, I didn't grow up watching Caddyshack, so I don't think it's, super hilarious. It definitely has its funny moments, but
yeah. There's a movie called Warrior that's pretty good.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one too. Yeah.
Yeah, Warrior, Southpaw, and The Fighter are kind of the same kind of genre. Let's see. All right, you gonna do number one, man?
Yeah, I think I'm ready.
All right, go for it. Or you want me to go first?
I can go first. So yeah, my number one sports movie all time for me is The Sandlot. And it perfectly aligns up with where I was in my life when I saw that movie.
Yeah, you love The Sandlot. I remember that you love The Sandlot. So
I remember watching it in the movie theater on base with my friends that I was in Little League with, played baseball with. It's just, I don't know. I remember going to the movie and it's like, oh yeah, it's a movie about baseball and some kids. And I walked out of that movie thinking that was one of the best movies I've ever seen. The cast is great. It just brings me back to where I was, like I said, in my life. I was, in like middle school. My best friends all played baseball. We were all on a baseball team. We we did everything together, and we had great summers where we played sports, and the friendship that is portrayed in that film, and just the pureness of it, the wholesomeness, is just for me my favorite sports movie. Um, and like I think, like at the end of the movie, the narrator is like, that was the last summer that we were all on the same team, and that happened to me in life too. Like, you know, Chris moved away, then Nick moved away, and then Brian moved away, and then I moved away. I mean, that would it brings that perfect summer I had growing up as a little kid, and it puts it on a film, and it's magical, and it brings back memories that I'll never forget about being with those group of guys that represent is represented in that movie. So it just has a huge place in my heart. I don't know if people feel the same way when they watch it, but that's how I feel. And so it makes it number one for me, man.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, the stars aligned because it made it. You were at the right age when it made an impression
Yeah.
on you. It's a
Yeah.
great movie. Like it's a classic. It's very Norman Rockwell. It's kind of like the clean version of Stand by Me. It's just such a
Yeah.
wholesome movie, and you can't like. You're right when you brought this up. I don't know if they can make movies like that anymore. Like it's a movie where it is lightning in a bottle, and it's just yeah, it's just such a great movie. Yeah, so that's what movies do. They bring back memories. They bring back a time in your life where you saw them. Like music can do that too. Art can
Yeah.
do that in general. But great choice, man. Kids love that movie. Like movie was my kids today and their sensibilities and they love it too. So it has stood the test of time.
Yeah.
You
I,
know.
I, I think it does.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a great choice. I love that movie too, man. Um, my number one is not it's cliche. It's not nothing sexy or anything like that. It's just a movie that me and my dad watched. Um, and it's just so nostalgic for me, and it's just so Americana for me. It's so cinematic for me. The way it's filmed, the way it's acted, and it is the true kind of underdog story. And it's to me, it's Hoosiers. Um, I could watch this movie whenever it comes on. I just have to watch it. From Gene Hackman's acting to man, it's just a stunning like underdog movie from the music, from the score, and it really is about just second chances. When Norman Dale comes to coach at this small town, he's treated like an outsider and he's treated differently because he made a mistake when he was younger, and it's about him overcoming those mistakes and learning from them and being honest. When he tells Barbara Hershey, his love interest, that yeah, I hit a kid and I regret it, and that's why I got fired, and that's why I was banned from college, from basketball, from coaching. But now is my second chance. And then the Dennis Hopper character, how he's an alcoholic, where he sees something in him to give him a second chance
Yeah.
at doing something great. And it's just about just redemption, about second chances. And I just love the score and the way it's filmed and the way it's just that old fashioned kind of feeling. And it's just something that's going to live timeless with me because I loved watching it with my dad. And me and dad, one of dad's favorite actors, believe it or not, was Gene Hackman. And he never. It was hard getting favorites from dad because he was just such a quiet guy.
Yeah.
Like, Dad, what is your favorite thing? Like, he didn't really know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the only band I know Dad really liked was CCR and this movie here. other thing else, I really don't know. But yeah, it's just very nostalgia, and it's just a story that I really love and I really like. It's about just overcoming like obstacles, and um, you know, and even though you made horrible mistakes in the past, that you can overcome that. You can overcome them. So this is a fantastic movie for me.
Oh, I love Hoosiers, man. I remember watching it with you. Um, yeah, it's a great movie. Sarah's never seen it, so I was like, "You've never seen Hoosiers? How you've never seen Hoosiers? Like, you don't know about the famous scene where he breaks out the measuring tape and like,
Yeah, yeah.
it's." She was like, "No." I was like, "Man, it's such a good movie, man." And I have Hoosiers on here too. Like, I think a lot of my picks may be like recency bias, but yeah, Hoosiers is phenomenal, man. Such a great underdog story. Um, yeah, timeless classic. That
It is
movie is,
timeless. Yeah.
that'll always be in my top sports movies of all time. Great movie.
All right. Well, that was fun, man.
It was, man.
So, man, there's a lot of movies like I wish I could like. I mean, I love Raging Bull, but it's just such a downer.
See,
Such a.
I thought Raging Bull was going to be your number one.
I was gonna put that on there, but it's just it takes a lot out of me when I watch it. I love the movie with all my heart. I love the black and white photography. I love the just the acting, and I wasn't really gonna put this on there, but I don't know. I think like I said earlier, like if you would have asked me to put this list, a week later, it might have been different. So, but
So I also thought you were going to have Endless Summer on your list.
I love Endless Summer. Yeah, yeah, that's a great. Yeah, I, I, yeah. I mean, like I said, it's so many freaking movies I could have put on here, dude.
Yeah, but I think it is cool that we both had Rudy and A League of Their Own.
Yeah,
Um,
I hate how Rudy gets a lot of hate, but
it
Rudy, I
does.
mean, it's cinema, dude. Like, remember the Titans? Like, it
I
makes
love
Rudy look like a Ken's Burn documentary.
and I
Come on,
love
man. Like,
I love Remember the Titans.
yeah, like nothing's accurate about Remember the Titans, really. Like, I mean, you don't got to shit on Rudy. He did go to freaking Notre Dame, and I mean, come on, man. It's like We Are Marshall. I love too. I
Yeah.
love Miracle. Miracle was good.
Miracle. See, I almost put Miracle in my top five.
Yeah, Miracle is amazing. Let's see.
I know HBO had an amazing documentary about that hockey team, and I saw it probably 20
I
years
think I
ago.
saw that documentary. Yeah.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Mhm.
So when Miracle came out, I was like, oh, I know all about this hockey team. I definitely want to watch this movie. And it's just a phenomenal story, man. And Al Michaels, do you believe in miracles? I mean, that's legendary,
Yeah,
man.
iconic, man. Like
Yeah.
to go off the dome with that line, like
Yeah.
it's brilliant. Like,
Yeah. I mean, they had a 1 in a million chance to beat that team, man. The odds
yes,
were stacked against them like no other, man.
yeah,
Truly phenomenal. That's got to be America's top Olympic event ever. Like
I
I don't
agree.
know if you'll ever beat that. I mean,
It's got to be up there, man.
yeah, it's with the Cold War going on and the tensions like that. That's another story that if you wrote that, people would be like, no, nobody's gonna believe this happened. Take it back, rewrite it, make it less miracle-y.
Yeah. So there's tons of great sports movies. Like we just scratched the surface on what's out there, really. So
Yeah, because we didn't even really go into documentaries, even though I had one in my list. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun, man. We'll have to we'll have to brainstorm and come up for our next topic next week or next time.
all right, it's been fun, brother, man.
All right, yeah, same,
All
man.
right.
We'll do it again. Thanks for
Yep.
watching. If you guys
Thanks
have
for
made it
watching,
this
guys. Have a
far.
good one. All right. Bye.